court-ordered sales. Everybody loves to talk about them, and there are a lot of different ideas out there about what a court-ordered sale actually is and are they actually good deals. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how our court-ordered sales work, what is a court-ordered sale, and are they always a good deal? So without much further ado, let's dive into it. Hi, I'm Damian Marks, your local realtor here in the Lower Mainland, and I'm on a mission to educate you. So if you find this content to be valuable or informative, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe because you're going to get all kinds of fantastic content just like this. So now let's dive into it. So first things first, what is a court-ordered sale? A court-ordered sale is exactly that, the sale of a home by order of the court. Now, this order can come about in more than a few different ways. It could be the result of a divorce, it could be the result of a death, and it could just be something as simple as defaulting on payments, and there are a myriad of other reasons. You might see in a strata property, maybe the person has not been paying on their strata maintenance fees and they're like years behind. The strata could force a sale there. We're not going to dive too much into what all these other reasons could be, but I just want you to know that a court-ordered sale is just that. The seller generally is not willingly selling the home, it is being ordered to sell. Now, aside from actually selling their home, there are various reasons why a seller would not be super happy as a result of a court-ordered sale. Now they're going to be dispossessed of their home potentially, and another thing is, if they've built up a lot of equity in the home, if the court is the one that orders the sale and sells the home, the seller does not have the rights to that equity, and that is huge, because what if you're somebody, you've built up $300K in equity, right? Generally, as a seller, if you know that a court-ordered sale is looming, your best course of action is to get ahead of the ball and sell on your own, so that way at least you can pull out that equity. So let's continue on. Now, if it's a bank that is, let's say, foreclosing on a home and forcing the sale, the bank's primary interest is getting their investment back out of the home. Because when you take a mortgage from a bank, they're investing in you and your ability to continue to pay off the home and pay them back the money they're giving you. So let's say somebody buys a home for $1.2 million and they have $1 million remaining on the mortgage and they've paid off $200K. The bank is looking to get their $1 million back. They do not want to lose on this. Now, if they can sell for full market value and get the full 1.2, they're obviously going to, but their primary focus is just not losing on the property. Some other instances where there is a court-ordered sale where, let's say, it's a divorce or a death, generally you are going to have all parties involved looking to get the maximum amount they can out of it, which can sometimes make it a little tougher to get that deal you're looking for. And due to the nature of what court-ordered sales are, you do find homes in a variety of conditions. Sometimes you find a newer home that's in stellar condition, and that's generally going to garner a fair bit of interest and probably sell very close to market value. Other times, you will find homes that are distressed, homes that may need significant amount of work, something like that. Those are the homes that you are actually going to find, the ability to maybe get the best deal on. I know that when a lot of people I talk to, when they're thinking about court-ordered sales, they're picturing the first example I gave, right? They're thinking this court-ordered sale is going to be a perfect home, move-in ready, and, happily ever after. But that's just generally not the case. And one thing you'll find with court-ordered sales is if you are well-versed in the space, you're going to know that there is a degree of risk tolerance involved. And that is another point I want to touch on for anybody who is going to be interested in foreclosures or court-ordered sales is you do need to have a degree of risk tolerance. Now, anytime you're making a move in real estate, of course, there is an element of risk involved, but with court-ordered sales, it is higher. I will touch on some of the reasons why it's higher, but just know as we're going forward in the video to keep that in mind. So, now that we've talked about a few of the introductory elements regarding court-ordered sales, let's touch on the actual process of a court-ordered sale. So let's say you, as the buyer, you're interested in a court-ordered sale, you're out there looking, and you come across something that you might be interested in. At the very start, it is fairly similar to a resale transaction that you might make. So, you get to make your offer, except now you are dealing with whoever's ordering the sale. It could be a bank, it could be the divorced couple, whatever it is. And each one of these, there are some pros and cons to each one, but they do come with their own sets of, let's say, ingress while you're trying to kind of come to an agreement. But at the end of the day, if an accepted offer is agreed upon, you go through your diligence like you normally would. So you're allowed to have your subjects, you're allowed to secure your financing, do your home inspection, all that jazz. But this is where it starts to diverge just a little bit. So in a normal court-ordered sale, once the offer is accepted, that accepted offer price is now publicly disclosed, and it will generally be on the listing. So let's say, they listed it at $900K and you get the offer accepted for $800,000. That information is now publicly available, and then generally, usually within about 2 to 4 weeks, a court date will be set, and that's usually maybe about a month after the date is given. Sometimes it is sooner. It just depends on how busy the courts are in dealing with these. So you're probably thinking, well, why would they do that? I just got this fantastic deal with this property listed for $900K, and I got the offer accepted at $800,000. And that's exactly the point. So a court date is now set, and any other interested party who wishes to make an offer, because now they see that the accepted offer is $800,000, is free to make an offer. Now, prior to COVID, it was a bit different, and there would be a court date, and all other interested parties would show up the day of and make their offers, and then you, as the original offer, would get an opportunity with the information you have to change your initial offer. So if you're there with your $800,000 and you see that there are 3 or 4 other groups willing to make an offer, you're going to want to adjust your offer because they know you're at $800K and are very likely going to make a more compelling offer. Now, what happens is all offers are submitted generally 2 days before the court date. You still do get some information, and you do get the opportunity to revise your offer, okay? And then on the actual court date itself, a judgment is made. A judge will read through all the offers they've received, and whoever has the strongest offer will be awarded the property. In the event that there are offers that are quite close, including the original offer, if it's very close, the judgment will generally go the way of the original offer. Even if, let's say it's like $5K less, they might award that judgment to the original offer by merit of them being the first person there. If you are not the original offer and on the court date decide you want to make an offer, there are a few things that are a bit different than either a resale transaction or if you are the first offer on this court-ordered sale. And one of the biggest things being is your offer on the court date must be subject free, and you will be there with deposit in hand. For those of you that may not know, subject free means you as the buyer have no conditions on purchasing this property. That means your financing is there, you do not get a home inspection, you don't get to do the property disclosure statement, and one other thing with court-ordered sales is you always receive the property as is, where is. So you as the buyer have little recourse if, let's say, you viewed the property and you're expecting it to be in exactly that same condition, but the day you take possession of the home, it is not in that condition. And that's going to bring me to a point I touched on earlier, risk tolerance. I mentioned that earlier because it is something that can be prevalent in a court-ordered sale. And so what is your level of risk tolerance? I mentioned that these transactions are sold as is, where is, and the condition that you first viewed the home in may not be the same condition you received the home in. So ask yourself some questions. If you bought a home and on possession date you found out that all the appliances had been pulled out of the home, so washer, dryer, fridge, dishwasher, are you willing to accept that risk? How debilitating would you consider something like that being? Or, let's take it a step further. Let's say the person, the court was selling the house up really, really didn't want to leave the home. And this will be an extreme example, but I'm certain it's happened out there. let's say they, put a bag of concrete down the kitchen sink, and now, sections of the house have their plumbing full of concrete, creating a massive headache for you, the new owner of this home. Is that something you'd be willing to accept? Now, not every home has something like this happen. There are a lot of court-ordered sales that go rather smoothly, but it is really important to be aware that there is risk involved, and something as big as the bag of concrete down the drain could happen, or it could be something extremely small, like, I don't know, maybe they took some light fixtures because they really like them. Whatever it is, just how much risk are you willing to accept? All right, so you've gone through the process, you've done your diligence, you're okay with making that subject-free offer, you're okay with whatever level of risk you've assessed to be involved in this transaction. I know I may have scared a bunch of you with how much risk there is, and it's just, like I said, really important that you know, but usually it's not calamitous like some of those examples I gave. So you've done all that, and now you're ready, and you've been awarded the judgment. What happens after that? Well, generally, things tend to move pretty fast. In in a more normal resale transaction, generally you'd see a completion within 40 to 70 days, and sometimes longer or shorter depending on specific conditions. With a court-ordered sale, you will generally be required to produce the funds usually in about 2 weeks. So it happens pretty darn quick. You're awarded judgment, and 2 to 3 weeks later, boom, you got your brand new court-ordered sale that you have purchased. And while we're on the subject of some specific terms and conditions, one thing that you will see, and it's not with every court-ordered sale, but it is something you definitely see if you're in that space, is remediated grow-ops. I'm sure many of you have probably heard this term. If you haven't, what it is it was a home where previously, some people may have been growing pot plants. It could have been a few, and it could have been many. But the whole point of it being remediated is that they've done the spore test, done the air quality test, and found that, the after effects of that are not present in the home, and it is fit for occupation. Yes, there is a stigma against it, absolutely, and not just on you as a part of the buyer, but also on the part of lenders. And this is another thing that you're going to have to consider, is if you are looking at a court-ordered sale or a resale home that is a remediated grow-up, is the financing implications. Generally, if it is a remediated grow-up, you are going to have to be able to produce a larger down payment than you generally would on a home that was not a remediated grow-up. And it is not uncommon for lenders to ask for 25, 30, or 35% down. On top of that, you will also have to take your mortgage at a 1% premium to what they would offer you otherwise. And on top of all of that, there are only certain lenders that will lend for remediated grow-ops. Now, I understand that legislation has changed in regards to cannabis, but as far as lending practices go, those have not kind of kept up. So for the time being, it can be quite tricky to get financing for a remediated grow-up, which is also why generally they sell for below market value, and those are actually also homes that you can end up getting a pretty good deal on. And you might be asking, well, why would anybody want to explore, purchasing a remediated grow-op? And one of the main reasons for that would be is they do sell for below market value most of the time. And, I'm not talking about, $5,000, $10,000 either. For some people, it's actually worth exploring that possibility. And I know this because I have had clients where this was the case, where they wanted to be in a certain area. And, we were just kind of not quite there, but there were remediated grow-ups in the area. Well, one, which they ended up purchasing, and they were able to move into an area they wanted without having to pay the price that, anybody else buying in that area generally would. On average, and while there's not a set amount, you can generally expect remediated grow-ups to sell for 10, 15% less than what the market value is. And a large part of that is because getting the financing is quite challenging, and getting the 1% premium on your mortgage as well. So those properties are not available to the larger segment of the market because there just aren't nearly as many people that can bring a down payment of 25, 30, or 35% down. And one last note that I want to make about remediated grow-ups is that stigma, it being a remediated grow-up, will be attached to the property until the building, the original building, has been demolished and rebuilt. So if you, for example, purchase a remediated grow-up, that stigma will be attached to that home until, the house is knocked down and a new one is built. So even though you got a really good deal and saved some money, right, and didn't pay full market value, that means when you go to sell, you can expect something similar to happen. Of course, unless you went through the process of, demolishing the house, building something new, and removing that stigma. So we've touched on a few different aspects of court-ordered sales and kind of did a bit of a mini dive. Of course, we didn't cover everything involved because there's just quite a bit there. And, as much as I like to hear my own voice, and maybe you do too, I just, you might not want to sit around for 20, 30, 40 minutes hearing about it. So was there anything in this video that you didn't know or something you were very surprised about? Do you have any questions about court-ordered sales or remediated grow-ups? Please leave your comments and questions down in the comments below. And, as always, if you found this information valuable and you want to see more content just like this, give me a like, and I would really appreciate a subscribe. And as always, see you in the next video.